Hi, I'm Alex. Today we're going to be looking at the experimental new kind of drum machine sort of synth hybrid that is the Moog DFAM. So the DFAM is a really unusual product in that it's not a traditional subtractive synthesizer in how it's made. It's actually architecturally very different, and it can make all kinds of different sounds at the same time. So it makes these sequences that are kind of halfway between bass lines and halfway between drums, or it could be exclusively bass lines or exclusively drums. But it's this hybrid where you can do both of them at the same time, depending on where you've got the knobs at any particular moment. So what you're seeing me mess around with here are two DFAMs and a mother linked together in this kind of jamming scenario. What I've done is I've sent the clock from the mother 32 to the two DFAMs so that everything's playing in perfect time. And I've got one of the DFAMs set up with one of the presets, which is literally this sort of cardboard sheet that you get. You lay it over, you put the knobs in the same, in the settings that are indicated on the sheet, put the wires in the right place. And that particular patch is making a kick and a snare. So you'll hear a kind of low kick and then a really nice, cracky sort of white noise snare sound. And that's just one DFAM, able to do a kick in one moment and a snare in the other, depending on how you patch the sequencer. I'm using the other DFAM to do a kind of more hats and sort of extra ancillary percussion. And then there's the mother for bass lines. And it's just a really nice setup. You can get such organic things where the DFAMs are kind of doing something that's half pitched and half drums. It's a really, really fascinating thing to play around with. So the DFAM's a really strange arrangement of elements. It's actually a couple of oscillators, Moog oscillators, a nice Moog ladder filter, which can be low and high pass. It has two H-step sequences as well. And you've also got white noise. And the really sort of strange and interesting stuff happens when you combine the oscillators in different ways. Each oscillator can have its own pitch, and you can then frequency modulate them against one another. But the real interesting thing about the DFAM is that you're using the sequencers to control how much you're applying all of these different modulations at any one time. And so, for example, you can have the sequencer applying the FM amount indifferently per step. And therefore, there's just this whole kind of wild possibility where all of the knobs can be in kind of sequenced to be in different settings per step, create different sounds. So it becomes rapidly very organic and interesting, and starts making these really groovy, strange patterns where you're not quite sure what's going on, but it always sounds great. The other thing is, if you're not running it as a sequencer, there is a little grey trigger button on the panel. So one really nice thing about the DFAM is you can use it to build up drum sound libraries. So if you have a sampler or you're using DAW, you can just hit trigger and then create all kinds of different sounds. It's like super kicks, toms, snares, hats, bass lines, percussion sounds of all kinds. You can just create a library by triggering the sound individually and adjusting it, and then setting up complex patches as well to get really crazy drum sounds, build entire kits, and then put them into your sampler and build tracks from them. So it's a really, as a kind of sound creation tool, like a resource, it's super powerful. So obviously it's got this sort of funky layout, which is quite unusual, but you can still get absolutely traditional tones out of a DFAM. If you've got two Moog oscillators, you've got a Moog ladder filter and envelope generators. So you can get really, really nice bass lines, nice sequences, very trad stuff as well. You don't have to do experimental techno if that's not your thing. So I think you can hear that the DFAM's got quite a lot of power. There's a whole load of different sounds that it's capable of, and it's a really expressive and interesting live jamming tool, as you can see. So for more information on the DFAM or indeed any Moog product, please check out the Gear4music website. Thanks very much for watching. Cheers.